So 2-1 it would finish late on for Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo with the winning goal in this clash. And this is how things are looking when it comes to most goals in official matches. Cristiano Ronaldo riding high on 901 goals. Messi on 838 in second place behind him. And look at the names on this list: Pelé, Romario and Ferenc Puskás. We have Mark Ogden and Luis Garcia joining us now to talk more about what we've seen. But I suppose, Craig, we could say it's 901 reasons for Ronaldo to continue playing for club and country.
Well, this is a kind of conversation people have down the pub. Or some bunch of YouTubers who haven't got a clue. Yes, he'll get goals. It's the Nations League. I don't care how many games Portugal win in the Nations League or Roberto Martinez makes substitutions and wins in the Nations Leagues. I don't care. It's meaningless, pretty much. Right? We had this discussion on Thursday. You go to YouTube, 3 days, go back 3 days, you'll see the video. Stevie was here, I was here, Dan was here. Right? We talked about Ronaldo. We talked about everything he's achieved in the game. And then we did a bigger picture analysis. Not down the pub, pull me a pint, Ronaldo should play. Ronaldo's got 901 goals, Ronaldo should play. We did big picture analysis. He's going to be 41 and some, nearly 41 and a half, when Portugal go to the World Cup here in the United States. Tell me another team that's going to play in the World Cup with somebody leading the line who's even going to be 35. You're going to struggle. And that's off the back of a poor Euros, where he wasn't playing against the likes of Scotland. And he was playing against elite level teams, and he struggled. So we can put these graphics up every damn show we come on, when he scores against Liechtenstein, Scotland and others. The big picture here is, and again, I go back to this, I'm not taking anything away from the man himself. He has been utterly brilliant. But Roberto Martinez and Portugal, there's a bigger picture. I can't keep repeating myself, right? You're not going to go into a World Cup with a man at 41 and a half who's leading the line, right? Well, we say it can't happen. It can happen, but it's to the detriment of the team. So we can keep saying 902, 903, 904. What's the big picture? You may have realised I'm kind of, this Ronaldo thing is just getting a little bit tiresome now, because for all the reasons that I mentioned.
The nuts and bolts of it is, when you're playing against a team that you're going to completely dominate pretty much for the whole of the game, Ronaldo or anybody else who's of a certain age could play and maybe score a goal. But that's not really what counts. What counts is what we saw in a major tournament, when you need somebody up front who's, yes, going to score, but who's going to lead the line, who's going to hold the ball up, who's going to bring people in, who's going to run in behind. All of these things he can't do. And that's why, yes, he scores against Scotland, and he comes off the bench, because right now, against a team like Scotland, that's the best place for him, coming off the bench, when they're totally dominating, when all he has to do is stay in the penalty box and just stand and wait for the ball to come in. That's fine. But in a proper game against a proper team, he's not cutting it. He's just not cutting it.
I think that's a discussion.
And that's the important thing.
I think that's a discussion you could have. But even that's a stretch. Could he come off the bench? And I'm thinking World Cup. Because the Nations League is the Nations League, right? It's glorified friendlies. They've replaced...
He's not even coming off the bench.
Right. So what?
He's not playing 41. At 41...
How can you know for sure?
Because he can't run. I mean, again, so the discussion we had the last time was, I brought up when he had the ball on his own, wide in an area, he had 50 yards to run towards goal, there was nobody near him, neither his teammate nor one in the opposition, and he couldn't get there before they all got back, because he couldn't run that far, and he couldn't run that fast before they all got back. And again, today you saw him a couple of times when he was in wider areas, doing 65 step overs and then trying to whip a ball in. He couldn't do it, because he can't get himself in the right position to do that anymore. Because one of the things, particularly, that goes the older you get, is your balance. And if you watch this guy try to whip a ball in, and he whipped it, 3 yards wide of the near post? I mean, come on. So he's not. There's no way There's absolutely no way. I told the same thing the other day. I'll put a bet on with anybody. I don't care. He is not playing when he's 41 years of age for Portugal in the World Cup. He's not.
Louise, do you agree with these guys?
It's difficult to don't agree with them because the responses are fantastic and well taken. I think that when you know that Cristiano Ronaldo is a different machine. He's an alien. He's a player that at 39 is competing at the highest level in every competition that he's been involved. It's a 7 against 7, a short pitch, a small distance. You just have to get the ball, turn around and take the shot or get it across and be aware. And we know that he can be clinical. He can get the finishing. But if you are in an open game, you know that Cristiano Ronaldo is not going to lead the pressure up front. You got surrounded so much talent: Neto, Leao, Fernandes, Padinha, Silva, and the list goes on. After in the second half, you got João Felix getting involved. Players who are gonna feed you with balls, who are gonna assist you every single time because you're gonna be into the box. But that's not gonna happen against the top teams because you're gonna lose the ball. You're gonna need the 11 players to track back, to be in their position, and to run for at least 10, 12 kilometers every single game because that's the modern football. This is the football that we got right now. So I agree with the guys. He cannot do it right now. He didn't do it at the Euros, but in the end, his experience on the field, of course, can help. If he plays 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes in the second half, he's going to break that personality. He's going to attract players. He's going to make holes. He's going to divide the defenders. But in the end, when you have to play 90 minutes, you need something else. So I agree. I think, and we'll see what happens in the future, but I don't see Cristiano Ronaldo being there in the 11 starter for Portugal in that World Cup.
Talking about the World Cup, Mark, is he going to be there 2026 on the pitch for Portugal in the squad?
So I'm going to disagree with the guys here now. Everything they've said is valid points, but I remember being at the Euros. They played Turkey in the group stage, and I wrote a piece saying that Portugal can win the Euros, but not with Ronaldo. And I spent the rest of the Euros getting stick and abuse for it on Twitter, as you can imagine. But the reality is that he came on as a sub tonight, and he made an impact. He set up a couple of chances, he scored a goal. I think Ronaldo's after Roger Miller's record. He wants to be the oldest guy to score in a World Cup, but he might have to stick around until 2030 to do that. But I think he'll be there. I do think he'll be there at the World Cup, and I think he will be an impact sub. Depends who they play, obviously, but I think he'll be there.
I think that is a conversation that you maybe could have. Maybe. That's a stretch. This leading the line sort of scenario. The bigger picture here for Portugal as we get caught up in all this Ronaldo stuff once again is how are they going to cope and how are they going to get the balance right? Is Jota going to continue to play through the middle? He's done great for Liverpool there. Are you going to maybe shift Rafael Leao into that position? Is it João Felix with support from Bruno Fernandes? I think that's the bigger story for Roberto Martinez. And if he can have a conversation with Ronaldo, and I don't know if he can or not. In fact, history would show you he's struggling at that, to be quite frank with you, as he sort of panders to him, would be, if you're fit and you're still playing and you can be part of our squad and you can handle the fact that it's 10 minutes here and 15 minutes there and 5 minutes there and there's no tantrums, there's no press conferences, there's no anything, there's no upsetting the apple cart, then maybe we have a conversation, but we're 2 years away. We're 2 years away. This is a guy who was struggling at Man United at the end. Yes, he's in Saudi Arabia. Yes, he's having the odd cameo here for Portugal. But there really has to be a bigger picture here as Roberto Martinez tries to take this team forward. They have other players, not of his calibre in his prime, of course not, but they have other players with talent, with different skill sets, that they have to figure out that are going to fit into a starting 11. And then maybe, just maybe, he has some sort of cameo role. But, as I say, Stevie is adamant he's not. That is a stretch.
He's not. Right. I mean, there's a reason why he's in Saudi Arabia. And it's not all to do with the money. I mean, Oggy will know better than any of us. How many teams wanted to sign Ronaldo? How many?
None, apart from Al Nassr. That's the reality. Man United realised that he couldn't do it for them anymore, so he went to Saudi Arabia.
There you go. But yet you expect him in 2 years' time, when he's 41, to be playing for Portugal, honestly. I'll tell you what, I certainly hope he doesn't embarrass himself.
That would supersede Roberto Martinez's decision that I keep going on about to play and captain Eden Hazard for Belgium. Was it the World Cup?
Yes.
couple of years ago, just over a couple of years ago, at the World Cup, when he could barely lift his leg. And yet, and this Belgium camp was splintered at the time. It started to splinter about older players and, you know, senior players and younger players and unfit players. They were all bickering with each other, and it all came from a lack of leadership in the end from the manager. And players know when people are finished and they should not be playing. Trust me, they absolutely know. And when he put him out there, we were all going, what? How the hell? And of course, he was embarrassed into just dropping him in the end, and they had a horrendous World Cup. He's gone down a similar pathway, very similar pathway, unless he makes some drastic statements on this.
Can you imagine being Jota or any of these other guys who are not, they're not young kids coming up. They are bona fide top class players. Eventually, they're going to go, right, hold on a second. We can't keep... Listen, Ronaldo, no question, arguably the best player that's ever come out of Portugal. But eventually, if you're a player, you're going to go, I get that, but this guy can't run. This guy doesn't do anything for us other than stand in the penalty box. What's going on here? Why am I not playing? Why is he not playing? Why is Neto not playing? Why is this guy not playing? We can't keep doing this just because the guy's being a superstar. No doubt, one of the best players that ever kicked a ball. But to the detriment of not just the Portuguese team, but the players as individuals, are eventually going to start asking questions and say, come on, really? He's playing and I'm not?
Well, going back to Mark's point, Luis, if it were to be as an impact sub in the World Cup and in that role, if he were to accept it, could you see that being a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's still 2 years and that a lot of things can happen in 2 years, but I can see that. I can see that because we've seen it before. Not at 41 years old, but yes, a player who has got a lot of experience, who can make an impact because of his presence, not only because he can make the run or he can finish it, is because when he's on the field, the players, the defenders are always going to be aware of him. He's going to kind of divide the defenders. Everyone is going to be looking at him because he's very dangerous. He knows how to move inside the box. Tonight, we saw it. In just 20 minutes, he created 3 chances. One to the post, the other one shoot far away, another one who arrived in the second post and create another chance. So he's a player who knows how to do this create this kind of situation. When he's inside the box, he's so dangerous. Left foot, right foot, in the air. And that's not going to change because what he changes with the age is the speed, the power. That's what he goes down and down and down slowly. You don't realize the rest of the people around you is the one who realize. But I think that he can make a big impact if he's into that squad. Not into the starters, but yes, in the critical moments like playing against a team that is very with a low block, with committing so many players at the back, he can create that impact. And I think that it could be an important player from that. He understands that it's going to be an impact from the bench, not a starting player.
Quick word on Scotland, Stevie, what you made of them tonight?
It's just as it's on the tin, isn't it? Pretty much. We're just a solid, hard-working, okay international side that on the day can give teams a fright. That's what we are. And today, that's what we did. We gave a proper team, a proper international team, a side that